What's going on, everyone? Rob here with the playoff picture, the final playoff picture, because we are now in the finals of the playoffs of Season 6 of the GBA. Really good one coming up. And this week, unfortunately, I am not joined by my partner in crime, Moxie Infernape. He had a few issues with his computer, so this time we have a special guest. You might know him from around the Pokemon community, potentially.
You probably don't.
It's Jarrett, aka Jarboss. Introduce yourself.
What's up, guys? Jarboss here. You know, they couldn't find anyone good, but I'm here to be the mediocre fulfillment for this week. Let's see how I do. Rob, what's up?
Okay, so this week we are talking about, of course, the final of the GBA. Really exciting. The San Francisco Arcaniners taking on the Utah Jazzmen, George versus Cooper. Not many people expected Cooper to get this far, but he did. George, of course, repeating the final showing of last season, getting to the final again. That's basically what I'm trying to say.
I would just like to point out, I always believed in Cooper.
You did. You're the one person that actually believed Cooper would make it throughout the entire
season. I told Rob,
season.
like week 1, Cooper's going to the finals
You
this season.
You really did. I said Lars would do it this season, and you said Cooper would, and at least one of us got it right. So.
Yeah, I'm really happy that a dark horse made it. You know, George, he's a proven player. He's kind of one of the proven top players. He's always a very good opponent to face. But you know,
excellent.
you usually expect everyone kind of expected Envy and George to have a good match, and everyone's kind of expecting Fizz or Miguel from the other side. But you know, it's nice to see Cooper in there. In my opinion, it's nice to see that dark horse make it.
Definitely nice to see Cooper in the final. One of the old boys, I guess, in the final.
Yeah, old school. All right, I think we have some matches to cover, right?
Yeah, definitely. So last game, George in the semifinal took on Envy, beating him 4-0 to get to the final. Of course, defensive Tailglow Manaphy putting in a lot of work that game, along with the Togekiss tricking a Scarf. I wouldn't say maybe mistakenly, but onto the Gardevoir, which really caused him a lot of trouble. So what do you think about that game?
That was one of the fastest games I've ever seen.
It really was.
Both sides were bringing pure offense. They both had, like, Envy talked about how bad his matchup was, and I kind of have to agree his matchup was not very good, especially with Manaphy right there. And George proving that he is the great battler we all expected him to be. He brought the perfect set, in my opinion. And, you know, one or two misplays on both sides, I think George recognized that maybe he should have gotten Rocks up instead of Toxic Spikes, and Envy recognized that the trick was probably not the right play at that time. But, you know, it was a very good game. But, you know, George, like I said, his prep was immaculate that game.
Definitely. So let's move on to the other final. Cooper beating Fizz in the semifinal. It was another 2-2, history repeating itself. SD Gliscor putting in quite a bit of work, pressuring the Florges very well. Nice predictions on Cooper's part with the Staraptor and whatnot. And of course, the biggest thing in my opinion is that he wouldn't kill that Tailwind Whimsicott very smartly.
Yeah.
So
here's what I like about this game is that Cooper kind of gets, you know, pegged as like a guy who plays off of luck, but this game, his prep and play were top tier. He made good plays scouting for HPIS all game. He played really well around the floor, just in the Porygon 2, sacking stuff that needed to be sacked and playing for the situation he knew he could win. Rob, I don't believe that game. I think they went over how the game would have ended if it hadn't timed out. You want to go over that?
They did, and I believe Cooper would have won it either way because of the Greninja just outspeeding stuff, I think.
Yeah, I think it could have Dark Pulsed Volcanion to Ice being Salamence. Cooper being the good guy he was, went and asked Fizz if the Salamence was Yachi, and I think he might have awarded him the win if it was or something, and Fizz being the honest guy he is, let him know it's not, you know.
Definitely.
It was nice, great sportsmanship on both sides in that game.
Definitely. Very nice.
That was the
game.
Pure swagger game, right? You know.
Yeah. Both ended two. Oh no. Both ended with Cooper winning. So.
Yeah.
That
Cooper is the master of timeouts. You can't beat that.
That's true.
You can't teach that.
Okay, so now we can move into the matchups. So it looks to me now I might be just looking at this a bit strangely, but it looks like George has an amazing matchup this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But you're the guy who quadrupled down on Cooper in the Pick'em crew, are you not?
I am, and I believe in Cooper, okay?
I mean, I believe in Cooper too. Ray, why don't you tell us a little bit about the matchup? Huh?
Just everything George has does so much work to Cooper's team. It's pretty amazing. Like Mamoswine, Manaphy, Banded, and Banded Infernape, even just so much offense to hurt Cooper's team.
Yeah, Cooper does not have a switch into Mamoswine, nor does he have a very good switch into Infernape. I mean, you can kind of consider Clefable, but if it has to switch in on those two monsters all game, that thing is going to get worn down really quickly.
Yeah, definitely agree. Definitely.
Well, so, tell me what kind of sets you expecting this week, Rob? Give me some mons you're expecting them to bring, man. I'm gonna put you on the spot right now.
Like I said, probably Banded Infernape would be really nice, just so that to deal with that Clefable, if that's what he thinks his switch-in would be. Probably Unaware defensive Clefable, if I had to guess, on Cooper's side. And I don't see the Mega Beedrill coming on George's side, to be honest. So,
yeah.
What do you think about anything else they might bring?
I think you're right. I think Weezing's a pretty hard Mega Beedrill counter, but I think that George will probably bring a Wakon, Tailglow, Manaphy. I think he's probably going to go offensive this week with speed. I don't think he needs the defensive investment, maybe some Spadef, but I think he's going to need the little bit of extra power because one of the biggest problems with Cooper's team all year was that he really just didn't have a Scald switching outside of Clefable, and as we know, Manaphy can beat Clefable with Rain Dance or whatever George wants to bring. He can find a way around Clefable pretty easily.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So, it's just one match, so this video is a bit shorter than last week, but it should be a classic final. What do you think?
I'm excited. You know, like I said, Cooper's the dark horse. George is kind of the proven top dog, and I think that it's going to be a really good match either way. Hopefully we see some fun stuff.
All right, thank you for tuning in for the final playoff picture. Should be a great match between George and Cooper. One to remember. Leave any predictions you have for the final in the comment section down below. Thank you, Jarrett, for joining me in this last game. Late notice.
No problem. Thanks for having me on, man.
Of course. So tune in for season 7, I guess now, in the for the GBA, and thanks for watching.
Later, guys.